We said yesterday with Liam Rosenior, he, in hindsight, should have attacked earlier. Chelsea kind of ran out of time. It was almost the opposite in some ways, Grella, wasn't it, for Eddie Howe tonight?
Yeah, they went for it from the start. They pressed them high. They left spaces all over. They knew what they signed up for. They were like, okay, we're going to go for it, and we'll see if we score the first goal. And Man City did an excellent job. With the football, they were excellent. With the ball, they found the little spaces. They found the soft spots, and they were able to turn and put Newcastle on their back foot and put them in a lot of difficult situations. For Newcastle, if I'm looking at the game, though, I'm not so... I mean, defensively, obviously, conceding a lot of goals lately, so that's something you have to look at. But they create so many moments and so many chances on the counter because they're so dynamic. That's their bread and butter, and they miss so many chances. Now, in the 3 ties that they play Man City, they've probably created 16 or 17 like goal-scoring opportunities.
So is that the frustration?
And I've missed them. Yeah, all week, if I'm in training, I'm doing crossing and finishing with these guys non-stop, and they're just missing that last little piece.
But I think as well, like the key bit that no one's talked about, obviously they lost Isak. Massive piece. Obviously he's had an injury-ridden season, but last season they got as high in the Premier League to finish in the Champions League and to win this competition, because half of the chances would fall to him. He would score those type. And when you lose a player of that magnitude, yes, you try and replace it with a Vissa or with a Voltemada. They're not the same. You're hoping that between the two of them, they can give you the same amount of production. But in the big moments, if they had Isak there tonight, he has a hat-trick. It's a completely different game. And I just think that's when, unfortunately, for teams like Newcastle with PSR, where they're hamstrung, they're going to produce good players, but not going to be able to keep them long term. And unfortunately, that was the difference in Newcastle this season.
Tijani, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. Massive congratulations. How does it feel to be Wembley bound?
Thank you. Yeah, that's of course a dream, playing a final in Wembley. So yeah, very happy with it.
Tijani, what's the mood like in the dressing room right now at Manchester City? Is it win everything that you can, or is there one thing that you guys are focusing on more than the others?
Yeah, of course, we want to win everything that we can, and yeah, we are still in the race for 4 titles. Sorry, so we are still in the race for 4 titles, and now we are very hungry and very happy that we reached the finals.
Tijani, we have the pleasure of covering you, bringing your goals, your assists to the American fans, and all the positive moments you've had, obviously with Italian football, and now we're covering the Carabao Cup, so we get to see you here as well. What's the major difference between Italian football and English football?
The intensity, yeah, that's a big difference here. Italy is much more tactical, defending well, and here it's yeah, it can up and down, can go up and down, and every team is strong here in the Premier League, and you have to be ready for every game, because if you think you have time, they will come for you.
Tijani, just wanted to talk to you about Arsenal now. It feels like a rivalry is brewing up. Obviously, they're at the top of the league. You're now facing them in the final. Also, you could see them in the Champions League and the FA Cup. How do you guys approach these type of games now? Because for the first time in a long time, Man City are the team that's being chased as opposed doing the chasing as opposed to being chased.
Yeah, yeah, we are on a hunt now. We are still in the race for 4 titles, and this is a step closer to the first title. And yeah, of course, we want to win as many as possible, and we are very hungry. That's for sure.
Yeah, Tijani, is there a possibility that the result of this final in this competition can have an effect on how the Premier League finishes this season?
Yeah, maybe. We don't know what the stand will be at that time, but yeah, of course, it's always nice to win a trophy from a rival, and yeah, that's one thing that we want, and yeah, we are very hungry for that.
Now still in the title race, they're still obviously looking good in the Champions League as well. The big picture, they're fighting on all fronts still. Yeah,
and I thought that the question that Greta asked him is the question we've been posing for a while. What does this do mentally if City are to beat Arsenal? And he actually said, didn't he, we don't know, maybe that could be something. And at that level, you're talking about 0.5%, 1% things that fall into your favour. I thought it was a very good interview, and the fact that he even spoke about getting a little shiner there was lovely as well.
Really?
The missus loved it, innit? That's what he said.
Yeah, the bank statement.
I wanted to know about the difference.
The bank statements help too.
Yeah. I wanted to know the difference between Manchester and Milan, how you felt about that.
He told you.
Manchester.
Intense.
Well, I suppose, Grella, you're the best person to answer that. How have you seen him change since his time with Milan and Manchester City?
Yeah, the thing that he gave away, I think that was really interesting, is he said that in the Premier League, very intense, and it's very back and forth, where the Italians can defend a little bit more, and there's different moments, like more reserved moments in the Italian game, more tactical moments. And I think the Premier League suits him. I think English football suits him because he loves to come from the midfield. It made him a little bit of a unicorn in Italian football because you don't get to see it that often. You don't get to see players springing from the midfield with that kind of physical capability and also technical capability. So I think that the Premier League can highlight that for players like him, and especially Man City, who have the football a lot of the time.
I also think as well, because of that, and I've had this, well, when you work with Italian coaches, it's always defending first. That's the mindset. When you go with Pep Guardiola, it's about his team and how they play. So now I think for the next 2-3 years, he's going to be the perfect foil in that midfield with Rodri to be able to go, okay, he needs me to sit now and know how to do this because of my time in Italy. I'll sit. Actually, we're winning, we're dominating. I can go and show you what I need to do. He's a very, very good football player.
It's so true. So he had 1 goal tonight. Omar Mamouche had 2 goals. Here he is speaking after the match.
Omar, congratulations on to the final. What did you feel was so strong in the whole performance as a group?
Yeah, we showed a very good mentality. We were together as a team. From the first minute, we were very focused on the job, and I think we showed our mentality and our passion in this game, and we're very happy to reach a final.
Your 2 goals. Of course, there was an element of luck, but there was also the element of you being in the right place and having the right reaction. So could you talk us through those 2 goals and those reactions?
Yeah, of course. I think the first goal was very lucky, but the action before, I dragged the defender out, play a 1-2, and then my touch wasn't the best, but in the end, the ball went in, and like you said, I try to make the runs always and be in the right place, and I'm very happy to score 2 goals and to help the team reach a final.
5 goals against Newcastle already. You had a hat-trick. You could have had a hat-trick tonight as well. What is it about you when you face them?
I don't know. I wish to get a hat-trick today as well, but yeah, I'm very, very happy to score these 2 goals, and it gives us, the whole team, the confidence to win the game, and hopefully we can win the final.
You have a chance to win your first piece of silverware here for Manchester City. What do you think it would mean, not only for you, but also for other players who haven't won a trophy at City yet?
Yeah, it's one of the biggest clubs in the world. We're here to win trophies, and we give our best every day to reach these finals and win the silverware, and hopefully we can do it for all the new players and also the players that we're here. They showed us that every medal, every silverware is important.
Let's take you back over to Manchester, to Anita Jones. Anita, what was the sense at the final whistle? Obviously, we saw all the City players celebrating, but for Newcastle, on the other hand, it was a completely different tone, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, not much different to the Chelsea players yesterday, looking a little dejected as they walked into the tunnel. You know, it felt like the tie was wrapped up at half time. The fact that they went out there and gave a showing of themselves, they could have got 2 or maybe 3 goals. You think of at least Elanga's second chance. I guess Eddie Howe will try and lift his players up, as he said.
Anita, as a Arsenal fan, and obviously you tried to come for me earlier, so I'm going to let it go. But I do want to know, how are you feeling after watching that? Are you more confident with your Arsenal team, or a little bit now concerned with Man City starting to score more?
That was a really good performance from Manchester City. I'm not sure we've seen many like that, where they're just free-flowing, everything seems to click so well, and they didn't look vulnerable, or as vulnerable as they have done in second halves. What's really interesting is, before coming to you guys, I looked up, this is a repeat of the 2018 final, and it was actually Pep Guardiola's first trophy as the Manchester City boss. He's gone on to win many with them, and someone who was in that Man City side at the time was Gabriel Jesus. So really interesting storyline we've got on our hands. But sorry, I didn't quite answer your question there. Am I nervous? Yes and no, because Arsenal have got the best defence in the league. So we've got our players fit, unlike this Newcastle side today.
Love it, Anita. That's what I wanted to hear. I wanted to have here an Arsenal fan with some conviction. We've got Cos in the back. He's giving me every excuse as to why they're not going to do it. I like the conviction that you're giving us. Thank you.
I was going to say this, Anita. Okay, so let's just say if Manchester City were to win and beat Arsenal in the final, how would Arsenal fans be feeling about the Premier League after that?
Oh.
This is very hypothetical. Let's see in March.
I like it. Anita, you obviously have spoke to Eddie Howe there. You obviously just see the interview. Do you feel a sense of frustration? Obviously, Eddie Howe is being linked with Man United, England jobs, and all those things that are coming. He needs to win things, right, to keep that conversation going. But he's also dealt a real tough hand now with all the injuries he's got. Does he feel a bit despondent to you, or is he just business as usual?
I got the impression he was business as usual. I think what the real challenge is going to be is keeping the fans happy and also some of those really talented players, because of course the winter transfer window has closed, but there were rumours circulating that Sandro Tonali had been linked with Arsenal. Both clubs shut that down, but the fact that that's even circulating, then Tino Livramento, one of the players they're missing in defence, is apparently not signing a contract extension at the moment, so there's uncertainty in that area. Of course, these are all reports, but the fact that you've got two key players linked with potential moves to other clubs, other key competition in this league isn't good, because at the moment I believe they're 10th or 11th in the league. How are they going to attract players and continue in this upwards journey that they've done to be in the Champions League as they have done in the last couple of seasons?
You're through to another final of the Carabao Cup. What did you do to control the game so well tonight?
Well, with the Newcastle never control completely, but they have a lot of one against James. It was unbelievable, especially in the first half. And but we haven't the right pace. I know the rhythm that the players had to play in the first half. They have a good pace, a good rhythm, and yeah. But we saw it, and how alive we were, and yeah. So Newcastle is is a Champions League team. It's a top class player, except Joel Antonio Buga and Marais. They put all the players all the time, making incredible, intense game in all departments. So of course you suffer, but the guys were really good, and yeah, 5-1 aggregate is unbelievable and expected when we start the team like is the last Champions League Carabao Cup, and in March, the end of the March, we go to Wembley again for many years in FA Cups and Carabao Cups and so on. And yeah, we're going to travel to London. They will wait us there, so all the time we have to travel. Never travel in the north from England. But yeah, really happy to be back after many years, and 5 times in 10 years is a big milestone.
And a lot of good performances tonight. Omar Marmoush, how much do you appreciate his movements, especially when playing like this with 2 strikers up front?
Yeah, really good. His movements are really top. But really. So they make that movement in behind and have this incredible sense of goal. At the end, the first one is really lucky, but it's not lucky when you're playing with this passion, with this love. All of them, and yeah, really pleased for him, because of course that type of game with 2-0, it always can be complicated mentally, and we start really well. We scored, the 2 goals, the 3 goals in half time, so that was really good.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, important saves from James Trafford. Yeah. How have you seen his development, especially working alongside such an experienced goalkeeper as Donnarumma?
I said from the beginning, James is a top class player, top class keeper. So have an incredible future ahead of him. The position the keeper is special, because of course he has to play and cannot play. Some players of Nico O'Reilly, can play a left back, can play attacking midfielder in the pocket, can play holding midfielder. But the keeper had to play keeper, and there is just one. And Gigi, of course, is an extraordinary keeper. But I'm really pleased when the final, he's going to play the first final in Carabao Cup for him and FA Cup, and of course everything can happen.
Yeah, the first chance of a title this season. When you think of a group as in formation, what could it mean to win a title?
Will be good for more of them. So you have to live this experience. You have to live this experience for many of these players. For the first time we won first title in our era here was in a Carabao Cup 9 years ago, and was okay. Break something. When you win something, helps to win more. It's a pleasure to play against Arsenal, the best team right now in Europe, maybe in the world, and for many things, the stats, the consistency, the many details that they control, and as much we play against them, we will make us better team. And hopefully in March we can arrive with the players fit, and hopefully we can convince the Carabao Cup that Mark can play this competition, the final, because it's difficult to understand that the club making a big investment to play one player, to take one player, it belongs to us, and I don't understand why cannot play the final, honestly. So hopefully we make a letter, and hopefully the Carabao Cup or whatever, they can understand that once you buy a player for a lot of money, and he's not able to play for a rule that I don't understand why, hopefully they can change it, they can play.
Final one on Arsenal, because some people will argue that this title would mean more to Arsenal because they've been waiting for so long, because there's so much expectation. What would you say about that?
No, I understand. So don't make me say something that make me feel, something that I understand they want to win. I saw the celebration yesterday against Chelsea. So many years that they don't do it. It's normal that happen, but we want to do it too, and hopefully, just I pray that have the players fit and have the players in our disposal to try to compete against them. So, but for many years, being again another final is really, really good.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mikel Arteta's work at Arsenal is being viewed in an even brighter light after the recent coaching shakeups elsewhere. With Chelsea parting ways with Enzo Maresca and Manchester United moving on from Ruben Amorim, the contrast is hard to miss. Arsenal has kept moving forward under Arteta, giving him time through difficult stretches, and now seeing the payoff as the club pushes again in the Premier League title race. It also raises a bigger question about strategy. While Chelsea and United are changing direction again, Arteta has been in place for more than 6 years, outlasting a long list of managers across those two clubs in that span. That stability has become part of the story, and it was a major talking point on the Seeing Red podcast with Tom Canton and John Cross. Beyond reacting to Amorim's dismissal and breaking down wins over Aston Villa and Bournemouth, plus Manchester City's loss to Chelsea, the conversation kept returning to one core idea: structure. Not just who is the coach, but how much power that coach has, and whether the club is built to support a long-term project. Cross pointed to Arsenal as a rare example of patience turning into real strength. He argued that Arsenal's willingness to back Arteta through the messy early phases helped create the stable position they're in now, and that this kind of time and support investment is what can turn a club into something truly solid. Canton's response was sharp and honest. Arteta's arc, he said, has almost become a problem for other clubs, because it tempts them to keep coaches they probably shouldn't. But at the same time, it's still the best example of what can happen when you hire the right person and actually give them time. And that time wasn't smooth. The discussion highlighted how Arsenal could easily have pulled the plug early. 2 8th-place finishes, then 5th, missing out on the Champions League, and a Europa League semi-final exit to Unai Emery's Villarreal. Any of those moments could have pushed a club into panic mode. Instead, the argument is that Arsenal recognized the bigger reality. Arteta didn't have the resources to compete at the required level right away. The squad needed a rebuild. The roster needed to be refreshed. That's where the comparison to Chelsea and United becomes even more pointed. The podcast suggested that recruitment and decision-making structure are often what determine whether a coach survives. If signings don't land, results suffer. And if a coach doesn't have enough influence, or the club isn't aligned behind a clear plan, it becomes much easier for things to collapse. In other words, giving time only works if the coach is empowered to shape the team in a way that matches the vision. Cross also emphasized that Arteta's situation stood out because he pushed to be a true manager, not just a head coach. The idea is simple. Top coaches want a real say in the build, and they want the club to match what they were promised when they took the job. The discussion even pointed to how Arteta survived a low moment, like the home loss to Burnley, because the club stayed behind him. And in that period, with fan pressure affected by the COVID-era environment, Arsenal were able to hold their nerve instead of reacting emotionally. Meanwhile, the big unknowns now shift back to Chelsea and Manchester United. Who replaces Amorim? And how will the next chapter look at Chelsea? The answers may come sooner than people expect. But for Arsenal, the reality stays the same. They're stable, they're moving forward, and they're still in the title chase, while others are starting over again. And that contrast can shape how people judge every manager in the league. Because when two massive clubs hit the reset button again, it forces the same question Cross raised on the show. Is the quick switch actually fixing the problem, or just delaying the real work? The bigger takeaway from the discussion is that time isn't a magic solution by itself. It only becomes valuable when the club's structure supports the plan, and when the coach has the influence to push the squad in the direction he believes it needs to go. That's why the distinction between head coach and manager kept coming up. The podcast point is that if a coach is expected to own the results, he usually wants a meaningful say in the decisions that shape those results. And if he doesn't get that, patience alone won't save him. That's also where Arteta's early struggles get reframed. Those finishes and setbacks could have become a reason to panic. Instead, they became evidence of why alignment matters, because Arsenal chose to treat them as part of a build, not a final verdict. And once the squad was reshaped the way the club believed it needed to be, the results started to reflect that long-term approach. So the repercussions aren't just about Arsenal looking stable, it's about how stability changes your margin for error. When you don't reset every year, you're not constantly starting from zero. You're building on decisions, learning from setbacks, and keeping a clearer identity. For Chelsea and Manchester United, the immediate consequence is obvious. They're changing direction again, which means the next appointment carries even more weight. Because every new coach isn't just judged on results. He's judged on whether the club is finally giving him the structure and authority that the role demands. That's why the question at the end matters so much. Who will replace Amorim, and how will Liam Rosenior do at Chelsea? Because those answers will test the exact theme the show kept returning to. Time, support, structure, and control. And for Arsenal, it's a different kind of pressure. Stability doesn't guarantee trophies, but it does keep you in the fight longer. And right now, while others restart, Arsenal get to stay focused on what they're already doing, chasing the Premier League title.